Daniel didn't see the dirty water coming. One moment he was standing beside the Christmas dinner table, trying to quietly endure the insults flying at him. And the next, splash. Ice-cold, grimy mop water crashed down over his head, soaking his sweater, dripping into his eyes, running down his face. The room went silent for a single heartbeat before erupting into laughter. Emily nearly choked on her wine. "Oh my God, Mom, you didn't!" She doubled over, laughing so hard she wheezed. Chase, her new boyfriend, slapped the table and pointed. "Dude, you look like a soaked raccoon." Janice, Emily's mother, held the empty bucket in her hand like a trophy. "That's what you get for showing your face here," she said, chin raised. "You're lucky we even let you inside." Daniel blinked slowly, water dripping from his eyelashes. Inside, his heartbeat stayed calm. Too calm. He wasn't hurt by the humiliation. Not really. What stung was the confirmation that Emily and her family never knew him at all. Emily wiped tears of laughter from her eyes. "I can't believe I even married you. Seriously, what was I thinking? You brought absolutely nothing to the table." She leaned into Chase dramatically. "I wasted 3 years on this." Chase puffed his chest. "Couldn't be me, babe. I wouldn't settle for someone with zero ambition." Daniel inhaled deeply and exhaled through his nose. He didn't speak. He didn't lash out. Silence was worse for them. They needed his reaction to fuel their performance. Only one person didn't laugh. Lily, Emily's young niece, clutching a handmade ornament to her chest. She looked up at Daniel with worried eyes. "Are you okay?" she whispered. Daniel managed a gentle smile. "I'm all right, Lily." Behind him, laughter swelled again. Janice set the bucket on the floor with a loud thud. "You know, while you're already wet, you should mop this floor. At least then you'd actually contribute to something." More laughter. "Come on, Daniel," Emily chimed. "It's Christmas. Do a good deed." Daniel remained still. Chase pulled out his phone. "Hold up. I need to record this. The boys are gonna die." He leaned in, phone aimed at Daniel's face. "Say cheese. Show us your rock-bottom look." Emily leaned into the camera frame with him. "Make sure you get his car outside, too. I swear that thing should be declared a historical artifact." Lily stepped forward. "You don't have to stay here," she whispered. "You can sit next to me." Emily groaned. "Lily, sweetie, don't encourage losers." Daniel shook his head warmly toward the girl. "Thank you. That's kind of you." Janice crossed her arms. "Why did you even show up? Emily's moved on. You thought you'd win her back? Pathetic." Daniel looked at the Christmas tree behind them, glowing with warm lights, ornaments sparkling. Last year he'd decorated that same tree with Emily. It felt like a lifetime ago. "I came to return something," he said quietly. Emily rolled her eyes. "Oh, please. What could you possibly have that I still want?" Daniel reached into his pocket, pulling out a small velvet box. He placed it gently on the table. "Your grandmother's necklace. You asked me to keep it safe. I'm returning it." For a second, Emily faltered. Just 1 second. Then Chase nudged her and she regained her sneer. "Right. Well, took you long enough." Janice waved dismissively. "Whatever. You can leave now. We don't need your energy ruining Christmas." Daniel nodded. "I'll leave." Chase stepped in front of him, blocking the path. "Not so fast," he smirked. "We didn't dismiss you." Daniel looked up at him calmly. "Move." Chase blinked. "What did you say?" "Move." The voice wasn't loud, but something in it made Chase instinctively shuffle backward before regaining his fake confidence. He straightened his jacket. "I'm just messing with you, man. Relax." Emily frowned at Chase. "Why'd you step back?" "I didn't," Chase snapped. "Yes, he did." Daniel wiped water from his face. The tension in the room shifted slightly. just enough to unsettle them. The front door opened and Gerald walked in, arms full of report envelopes. "All right, everyone. Sorry I'm late. I was finishing the company documents for the year-end." He froze when he saw Daniel soaked in dirty water. Emily called, "Dad, Mom gave Daniel a holiday bath." Gerald didn't laugh. He set the envelopes down carefully, eyes scanning the scene. "Janice, what did you—" "Oh, don't start," Janice barked. "He deserved it. Walking in here like he didn't ruin Emily's life." Gerald sighed heavily. "No matter what happened between them, this isn't—" Emily waved him off. "Dad, please. Daniel's not worth a moral lecture." Daniel met Gerald's eyes. Gerald's jaw flexed, concern flickering across his face. He knew something the others didn't. Daniel could see the worry behind his eyes, not shock, not surprise, just the quiet fear of someone who understood the gravity of what was happening. Emily noticed the tension. "Dad, why are you looking at him like that?" Gerald swallowed. "I told you before. Daniel was good to you. The divorce wasn't something I supported." Janice scoffed loudly. "Well, I did, and clearly you see why." Gerald closed his eyes briefly, as if praying for patience. "Janice, if you knew half of—" Daniel cut in gently. "It's fine, Gerald." "No," Gerald said quietly. "It's not." Emily frowned. "Dad, why are you acting like this? We all know Daniel was holding us back." Gerald looked at her sadly. "You don't know as much as you think, Emily." Daniel's eyes softened. "Gerald." Gerald's voice dropped to a whisper. "Are you sure you want to keep quiet?" Daniel nodded. "For now." The family stood confused. Chase looked between them. "What's that supposed to mean?" Daniel stepped forward, dripping water onto the floor. For the first time all evening, the entire room fell silent. Daniel stood there in silence, water still dripping from his clothes, his expression unreadable. That calmness made Janice even more irritated. She pointed at him sharply. "Why are you still here? You returned the necklace. You've been properly dismissed." Emily waved him off dramatically. "Yeah, seriously, go. We're having a nice Christmas. You're ruining the vibe," Chase scoffed. "The dude acts like he has something important to say. Bro, you're nobody." Lily looked between them and Daniel with confusion and growing discomfort. "Why is everyone being so mean? It's Christmas." No one answered her. Janice dragged out a chair loudly and plopped down. "Honestly, I don't know how Emily tolerated you for 3 years. You were always so boring, so average," Emily added. "And you never wanted to take promotions or better positions. You said, 'I prefer a simpler life.'" She rolled her eyes dramatically. Translation, "I'm lazy." Daniel's jaw tightened slightly. "That's not what it meant." "Oh, please," Janice said. "It absolutely meant that." Chase nodded smugly. "Facts." Gerald finally spoke, stepping a little closer. "Daniel, maybe you should sit. You're freezing." Emily laughed. "Dad, stop babying him." "I'm not babying him," Gerald said firmly. "I'm being decent." Janice clicked her tongue. "Well, you're wasting your time." But Gerald wasn't looking at Janice. He was staring at Daniel, and his eyes were practically pleading. Daniel understood. Gerald wasn't concerned about Daniel's comfort. He was concerned about the fallout, the consequences. He wanted Daniel to de-escalate, to leave quietly before the truth came out in a violent wave. Daniel sighed softly. "I'm fine. I'll go. I didn't come here to start anything." "Good," Emily said quickly. "Bye." He turned toward the door. Then Chase called out, "Hey, wait." Daniel paused. "Before you go," Chase said, rising to his feet with a smug grin, "how about we clear the air a little? You know, since you're part of this family's tragic backstory." He motioned around dramatically. "Let's talk about why Emily divorced you." Daniel gave a slow, exhausted blink. "We don't need to do this." Oh, we do, Emily said. Foreclosure. Lily tugged on her father's sleeve. Why are they being so mean? Gerald shook his head. Not now, Lily. But Emily stepped forward, fueled by hurt pride disguised as arrogance. Since we're all adults here and Daniel seems to think he's above owning up to things, let's be clear. I left because you refused to grow. You refused to take opportunities. You refused to— I refuse to turn into someone I'm not, Daniel said quietly. Emily scoffed. Then enjoy being alone forever. Chase draped an arm around her. Don't worry, babe. Upgrading from him to me? Best decision ever. Daniel turned slightly. If you truly believe that, I'm happy for you. Oh, don't pretend to be noble now, Janice snapped. You're jealous. Gerald muttered under his breath. Enough, Janice. Daniel shook his head. No jealousy, just disappointment. Emily crossed her arms. In yourself, I assume. In how little you ever tried to understand me, Daniel replied. The room shifted again. Emily tilted her head. Okay, you know what? We're done here. She clapped her hands twice. Goodbye, Daniel. Daniel's voice came out measured. I was going to leave quietly, truly. I had no intention of staying longer than necessary. Chase smirked. Then what changed? Daniel glanced at the ornament in Lily's hands, the only warm thing in the room. But I realized something, he said softly. Sometimes silence protects the wrong people. Chase curled his lip. What does that even mean? Daniel didn't answer. Gerald stepped forward hastily. Daniel, please, let's talk privately. Emily frowned. Dad, what are you hiding? Janice's eyes narrowed. Yes, Gerald, what exactly is going on? Gerald swallowed. We can discuss it later. No, Daniel said calmly. We'll discuss it now. Janice rolled her eyes. Daniel, stop speaking in riddles. No one here cares. He looked at her steadily. You will. Chase barked a laugh. Dude, you're wet and pathetic. Just leave.
But Emily's arrogance had shifted to impatience. Seriously, what is this "you'll care" nonsense? Daniel looked around the room slowly, his gaze landing on each of them one by one. Do you know, he said, what your father actually does at the company? Emily blinked. He works in management. Why? Daniel looked at Gerald. Should I say it, or would you prefer to? Gerald's face paled. Janice threw her hands up. Oh, stop being dramatic, Gerald. Just spit it out. But Gerald didn't speak. He couldn't. Daniel stepped forward, dripping water onto the floor with each step. Your father, he said quietly, doesn't report to the director like he told you. Emily frowned. What are you talking about? Gerald rubbed his forehead. Daniel, please. Chase folded his arms. Man, just say what you're trying to say before we all die of boredom. Daniel met Emily's eyes. Your father reports directly to me. The room froze. Lily's mouth dropped open. Emily blinked rapidly. Chase looked confused, then annoyed. Janice squinted like she misheard, then barked out a disbelieving laugh. What? You? A man who can't afford a decent car? Don't embarrass yourself. Daniel didn't flinch. Gerald has known me for a long time, long before Emily married me. He respected my request to keep my identity low profile. Emily stared at her father. Dad, what is he talking about? Gerald looked at her helplessly. Emily, I told you, I didn't support the divorce. That doesn't explain anything, she snapped. Daniel continued. I don't work at the company, I own it. Chase snorted. Yeah, right, and I own the moon. Janice rolled her eyes so hard it looked painful. You own the company? The multi-billion-dollar corporation we work for? You think we're stupid? Daniel reached into his soaked pocket and pulled out his wallet. From inside, he slid out a card, one that shimmered with a distinct company seal and a holographic imprint. He placed it on the table. Gerald exhaled shakily. Emily stared. No, that's fake. You're lying. You have to be lying. Daniel held her gaze. I bought the company before I met you. I chose not to flaunt it. I chose to live simply. I wanted someone who loved me, not my bank account. Chase sputtered. Bro, this is some kind of prank, right? Daniel shook his head. No prank. Emily shook her head violently. No, no, that means... Daniel nodded once. Yes, you divorced a billionaire. Janice slammed her fists on the table. How dare you keep that from us? Daniel looked at her evenly. How dare you treat any human being the way you treated me? Emily clutched the table, suddenly unsteady. Wait, Daniel, Daniel, please. I didn't know. If I had known, that's exactly the problem, Daniel said softly. Her face crumpled. The room fell silent, heavy and tense, broken only by the faint drip of water from Daniel's soaked coat. Emily's mother, Janice, covered her mouth with trembling hands, her face a mixture of shock, disbelief, and disbelief. Her eyes darted from Daniel to Gerald, then back again, as if trying to comprehend how they had all been blind for so long. You own it? She whispered, her voice cracking. Yes, Daniel said quietly, his tone deliberate and calm. I own Sterling Global, the company your family works for. Every project, every promotion, every decision that shaped your lives, you've been reporting to me all along. Emily stumbled back against her chair, speechless. Chase's smug grin evaporated instantly, replaced by pale panic. Wait, this can't be real. You're joking, right? Daniel shook his head. No joke. I kept a low profile by choice. I wanted to see who truly valued people, not status, money, or appearances. Janice sank into her chair, trembling. All these years, all the insults, all the mockery. I poured water on you. Daniel held up a hand, calm but firm. Exactly. And that is why I am here. He reached into his pocket and pulled out a thick black envelope, placing it firmly on the table. Effective immediately, I am initiating formal reviews for harassment, misconduct, and discrimination. Any employee found guilty will face suspension pending investigation. Your actions tonight are part of the record. The room erupted. Emily screamed, No, you can't! Chase gaped, speechless. Janice pressed her hand to her chest, panic overtaking pride. Gerald exhaled slowly, finally allowing himself to breathe. You humiliated me for years, mocked me, publicly embarrassed me tonight, Daniel continued, his voice steady. Now it is time for accountability. Emily's shoulders slumped, her voice trembling. Daniel, please, we didn't mean... Intentions don't erase actions, he said softly. You laughed, mocked, humiliated. Tonight, I've seen exactly who you are. Chase whispered, almost to himself. This can't be real. Daniel's gaze softened as he looked at Lily, who had quietly moved closer, clutching her handmade ornament. And for those who show true character, there is reward. Lily's eyes widened. Daniel reached out, taking the ornament carefully. This, he said, is the only gift I need from this family. Thoughtfulness, kindness, and integrity, those are the real wealth in life. He knelt to her level. You, Lily, will be taken care of. I've arranged a full scholarship for your education, a trust for your future, and mentorship programs to guide you when you're older. You and your grandmother will have security and opportunity. The grandmother, who had remained quiet all evening, wiped tears from her eyes. Thank you for believing in her. Daniel stood slowly. As for the rest, you will face the consequences of your actions. Suspensions, investigations, and audits are now in motion. This is not punishment born of revenge. It is the natural outcome of choices. Emily collapsed to the floor, shaking. I don't understand. How could you keep this from me? How could I have married someone like this and never realized? Daniel's voice was calm but firm. Because you never tried to know me. You loved the idea of me, not the reality. That choice brought us here. Chase slumped against the wall, realization dawning. Janice's face paled, pride and arrogance completely drained. Gerald exhaled, relief mixed with admiration. The family's hubris had crumbled in an instant. Daniel turned back to Lily, a small smile on his face. I'll leave you to enjoy the rest of Christmas. But remember this: kindness, integrity, and compassion are the only things worth carrying forward. Power and money are meaningless without them. Lily hugged him tightly. Thank you for believing in me. He held her hands in his, looking into her wide, innocent eyes. Always. True strength comes from helping others, not tearing them down. Daniel walked to the door, dripping water onto the floor. Snow fell softly outside, blanketing the world in quiet calm. He looked back one last time at Emily, her sobs quiet and broken, and at Janice, pale and humbled. Remember, he said softly, arrogance and cruelty might feel powerful, but they leave nothing but regret. The next morning, Emily's family felt the consequences of their choices. Suspensions, audits, and terminations were formalized. Gerald quietly resumed work, reassured by Daniel's fairness and wisdom. Chase's employment ended immediately. Janice, Emily, and the others faced formal disciplinary action. But Lily, she smiled brightly, clutching the documents that promised a secure and bright future. Her grandmother held her close, whispering a prayer of gratitude. Daniel returned to his penthouse later that evening. He hung Lily's crooked little ornament on his towering Christmas tree. It sparkled at the center, glowing under the golden lights. He held it, feeling a warmth money could never buy. It symbolized hope, kindness, and the real meaning of Christmas. That integrity, empathy, and moral courage are more valuable than any fortune. Mariah, his assistant, stepped in quietly. Everything handled? Daniel nodded. Yes, the deserving are rewarded. The rest, they've learned their lesson. She smiled. You always take care of the right people. He chuckled softly. It's Christmas, and sometimes that's all the reason we need to do what's right. Outside, snow drifted lazily through the night. Inside, the golden glow of the tree reflected off the walls. The crooked ornaments sparkled brightly. In that light, Daniel understood that true wealth comes from character, empathy, and moral courage. No amount of money or social status could replace kindness, and no amount of arrogance could hide the emptiness of cruelty. He reflected quietly. Life offers us the chance to be generous and good, to protect the vulnerable and respect others. Those who act from arrogance or malice may gain temporary satisfaction, but in the end, the consequences are unavoidable. And those who act with compassion and integrity leave a legacy far greater than any fortune. As he sat back in his chair, sipping warm cocoa, he smiled. This, he thought, is the gift I will always treasure, the knowledge that doing what is right matters more than anything else. If you enjoyed this story and want more dramatic, emotional narrations like this, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and comment Christmas if you stay.